ooh, I think there's a good chance that people got to see my belly sticking out the bottom of my shirt from going to adjust my fan. Welcome to Keeping Me Up podcast. I'm Shane. My sister, thank you for tuning in, all three of you. You guys are the best. My sister Panther is supposed to join us at some point. She may run into some family obligations that stop her from logging on, in which case she'll join us next time. But for the moment, you're stuck with me. How's everybody doing tonight? What's on your mind? Join the chat, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Yeah, it's weird. I haven't done one of these episodes really by myself, and learning how boring I am. It's funny because sometimes I'm up late. My schedule right now is basically go to sleep at 4 a.m., wake up, turn on my computer for work, fall back asleep, and then wake up probably like 11:30. It's a fucked up schedule. But I mean, a lot of us are on fucked up schedules right now, right? I mean, COVID and working from home and all the things in our minds, all the questions we have as to what's going to happen in the world, what's going to happen with the election, what's going to happen with COVID, our jobs. Those of us lucky enough to still have a job. I know many friends who right now are worried, and I'm worried for them. There's nothing I can really do. If I could support them all, I would, you know. But the $600 extra a week is done, and who knows when Congress is going to act, and how they're going to act, and what's going to happen. Hopefully soon. I hope my friends will be okay. And I hope those I don't know will be okay. And I hope those who are dying will make recoveries. And my friend who has been on a roller coaster ride with this disease, who has 2 days of feeling good, and then 3 days of feeling horrific, and a couple of days of feeling so-so, and just it's a scary time. So it's keeping us all up, you know, and it's giving us the weirdest schedules that there are. If you're someone who is just at home 99% of the time. I have one friend who I'm working on right now, co-writing a play with and whatnot, and he tries not to leave at all. He's probably stayed home 103% of the time. He ain't playing with that. And he gets real upset every time someone has to come to the apartment to fix something or deliver something, or there's even the slightest hint of him being infected. And it's it's understandable. It's scary. But what was really scary today was did anyone see what happened in Beirut today? That huge explosion looked like a nuclear weapon. I mean, not quite as severe, but it was a blast. It's terrifying. Right now, there's 78 dead and 4,000 plus injured. Both numbers are going to rise. You know, right now it looks like it was an accidental explosion because they've had different chemicals stored in that location for a number of years. Of course, the president said that the generals told him that it was an attack, it was a bomb. But then the general said they didn't say that. So, as he would like to say, it is what it is, right? The fact that he called COVID deaths in America, he said it is what it is. That doesn't keep you up at night. I don't know what the hell will. And my other podcast, Standing Room Only NY, we talk about baseball and the New York Mets mainly, but we're trying to get too political. But man, this podcast I don't mind, and that's really what Panther and I, my sister, it's my younger sister. She and I were supposed to talk about. I was lucky enough to be raised here in New York City, and have that kind of like liberal progressive mindset. SJW for there was SJW, and I actually hate that term SJW because it paints a picture of someone who doesn't see things objectively and balanced. But that's not necessarily the case. It's just labels are bad. But to have that liberal progressive mentality, thanks to my mother, and she was raised by our father and other family members, and she was raised in Locust Grove, Oklahoma. And let me tell you, it is the sticks. It is every kind of stereotype you might imagine Oklahoma to be an hour or two outside of Tulsa, and 2.5, 3 hours out of give or take out of Oklahoma City, and it's definitely it's definitely a different world. So what we were going to talk about was how, the Panthers are the same mind frame as I am with a great number of things. Black Lives Matter and Black Lives Matter, and LGBTQ plus equality, and what's going on with the government, the economy, and COVID. So we weren't going to be really. I know I advertised it'd be North versus South, but it really isn't. It was more, not in a combative way. It was more just comparing, the North versus the South with, our upbringings and, where you have a more liberal sensibility at being nurtured here and encouraged here, whereas down there it's a very red, very conservative, very racist state and prejudiced state. Not just state as far as it being one of the 50 states, but of a mind frame, right? So we're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about, because even she's like, I don't even know if COVID's real sometimes, because they haven't really been all that impacted by it down there. And people aren't wearing masks, aren't doing those things for the most part, from what I understand. And here it's completely different. Not that people enough here are wearing their masks either, but that's neither here nor there, right? It is what it is, right? But we're going to talk about that, and Black Lives Matter. She was out protesting in the city, and what that was like. She was looking to go to a protest that turned out to be orchestrated by an anti-BLM movement, centered around Trump's gathering in Tulsa, where his friend died because of that, and many others have gotten sick because of it, with COVID, because they didn't wear a mask, and they bragged about it, and they chest thumped about it, and now there's a friend of his has his blood in his hands. Not that he cares; it is what it is. So we're going to talk about that, and just the different mentality of things, how racism is down there, and how what it means to be someone who kind of stands out as far as your beliefs go, and go against the grain, the norm. Whereas I live in this bubble. I've always said, we live in a bubble up here in New York, and in Northeast states, and if you're in the majority of California and whatnot, we're quite in the bubble that, having had seen much of this country, having zigzagged around it, in a car, it's I would not say we're the majority. We probably are the majority by head count, but by region, by location, we are not, in my opinion, from what I can tell, the majority of this land and their people. It's a very, very backwards way of being, and very prejudiced, and very horrible. And it's something that keeps me awake, because I think about what's going to happen in the future now with the election. And I am of the mindset that Trump's going to win again. I think he, be it Russia with their supposed vaccine that's going to be coming, or the vaccine they're going to be rushing through without proper testing here. It doesn't matter what he says or what he does, Trump. His people will follow him like he's a god. It's God. It used to be for Republicans, God, Jesus, Ronald, as in Reagan. Now it's God, Jesus, Donald, as in Trump. And he can do no wrong. And no matter how many times he contradicts himself, no matter how many times he backtracks on something, no matter how many times he says something is a joke, they don't care. They don't care. He knew it when he said in the 90s if he ran for president, he'd run as a Republican, because this is the most uninformed, uneducated populace of voters there is, and they'll believe anything he says. He said during his campaign in 2016 that he could walk in Fifth Avenue, shoot someone in the head, and he'd probably get more votes. And he's right. And that's what I fear. A lot of my friends are very, very things are changing. Polls are saying something different. The narrative has changed, and yes, and it is a perfect storm to try to get him out, but I'm afraid that there is no real perfect storm to get him out. Between, gerrymandering and election suppression, as we saw what Mitch McConnell had done in Kentucky to suppress the black vote. What we see him doing, supporting DeSantis having mail-in ballots, but not other states because they're blue and he's red and he's an ass kisser and they're not. I don't put it past him invoking emergency powers, which he can do with Barr, or AG Barr, to get this election in his favor. I'm truly, truly worried about that. And I don't. He lost popular vote already once. He could lose it again and still win. And I always say, do not underestimate the stupidity of middle America. And I know that's painting a broad stroke all across the country and insulting a great number of people. But those who are his supporters, don't underestimate their hatred for others, for us. Do not underestimate those who are still somehow undecided, who will then see if a Russian vaccine is given to us as Trump's great relationship with Putin saving us. If there's a vaccine coming, oh, he was right, it's okay. No one, how many people think it's a fake? 160,000 almost people dead. Doesn't affect them, doesn't matter. And people tend to default back to who they know. The devil you know is better than the devil you don't on election day. I hope to God I'm wrong. That keeps me up. This explosion in Beirut, these people, a lot of their grain supplies, oh my God, stockpile. A lot of their grain stockpile was right there. Their ports are right there where this explosion was, this horrific explosion. I just feel for these people. And I'll put in the description once this video is processed by YouTube, because once you go live, it takes about 24 hours to go onto the main page. I'll put in links if anyone wants to donate to any relief efforts in Beirut. But of course, we're fighting injustice here and a pandemic here. It's hard to spread your resources elsewhere. But I feel for those people, and I hope that they'll be able to get on their feet, and I hope it wasn't any kind of malicious act. I hope it was just an accident, horrible as that is. But, they're hurting enough from the pandemic, as all countries are. But to varying levels, and Beirut, Lebanon, the country has seen so much war and so much death and so much pain, and then not far off past. This is just not what they need, and I feel for the Lebanese people. Nice, good, depressing stuff. My friend is messaging me right now. That's why I kind of got a little. Do I battle anxiety too? That's a question for my friend Amanda. I absolutely. I don't know how to spell when I'm doing this. Of course, that's what keeps me up at night, anxiety. I had anxiety the other night, actually, to introduce that topic now. This was not staged, I swear to God. I had this. I oftentimes, when I can't sleep, I'll go to bed and I'll put in my headphones, not these, but Bluetooth ones, nice big JBLs, whatever they are. And I'll listen to music that usually it's music. I love scores. I love musical scores, right? Like, for me, the greatest score of all time was the Gladiator soundtrack score by Hans Zimmer and Lisa Gaber. I love it. And so I tend to write stories with sometimes pop songs, much like many filmmakers do, but also musical scores in mind. So when I'm in a rut, like I have been for 6-7 months now, as far as writing goes, I listen to that, try to get me out of it. But then I made the mistake of listening to films that reminded me. I used to work on a soap opera called One Life to Live, and it's been off the air now since 2011 on network television, and then had like a short run online or something like that. I wasn't involved in that failed experiment. But I was there for almost 10 years. And it's a time in my life I don't often reminisce about. I don't often think about. It's and as a matter of fact, my friend Amanda was. I met her because she was an actress on One Life to Live briefly. She asked me, "Do you take anything for my anxiety?" I don't. Maybe I should. Maybe I'd sleep better. But I try to avoid medicine. I've been on medication before, namely oxycodone when right before my spinal cord surgery back in the day, back 4 years ago. And let me tell you, that shit is real. Oxycodone is a motherfucker. And well, it's funny how people take addiction seriously as long as it didn't impact their lives. It made me it I was living in constant pain. I couldn't. My spine was curved. I had two herniated discs. One was flaring up, L405. It was literally squishing the spinal cord. I would get up. I'm not going to get up here because my fat belly will come out. But I would have to slide one way when standing up to make the herniated disc go to one side of the spinal cord. And then sitting down, I had to slide it back so it would be pressing, grazing against. And each time I wonder if that was going to be a time it severed my spinal cord and I'd be a paraplegic. Or worse, possibly. Thankfully, obviously, that didn't happen. But I had 2 epidurals. Neither of them worked. The second one, 3 weeks after the first, I had triple the dosage. And all I felt was like my leg was on fire. And it did nothing for me. The only thing that really did help was oxy, and even that didn't take away the pain. It just got me really, really high. And when you're taking that 3-4 times a day, and the occasional dud or the occasional vomit from it, because sometimes it will make you sick and sometimes it doesn't do anything, and you're always afraid of one of those 2 things happening because then you have to wait for your next dose, and then you're just in this constant pain. And I was in a job at the time that I couldn't really do from home. I was in office services, and I had to be at the office. I had to help move furniture. I had to help set up catering. Like there was, and I'd be walking around limping. The only thing the epidurals did was give me some tremendous orgasms. Let me tell you something. Oh, my friend doesn't take anything either. I was saying I think probably not taking medication is probably for the best, but asking her if she feels like she needs to. Yeah, it's so going back to what I was saying about the epidurals. Yeah, it gave me some tremendously weird feeling. It wasn't necessarily intensified. It was just different. It's like a wave. It was weird, and it lasted for like a week afterwards. It was kind of cool, but it's weird because I look back on that time of being in such pain, but also it being such a euphoric time and a happy time in my life. And and there are specific people in my life that made it extraordinarily special. And people who aren't in my life anymore, people who I didn't treat very well, who I made mistakes with, and that stuff I regret every day. That keeps me up. Circle back to the theme of the show. And people that I wish I could just go back and change everything with. And I'm not gonna. The oxy played a part in a lot of my euphoria and my questionable choices and behavior at times because I was high all the time. And it amplifies your feelings, but it hinders your judgment. And thus doing so amplifies your lesser instinctual natures. That's not even a real term, but it does fuck you up. And some people will understand that, some people don't. It's part of an equation. It's also not fully to blame. You are fully to blame for your actions at the end of the day, of course. But it played a part. It played a part. This is weird. What is this saying? That's weird. I just anyway. But it did. But despite all that, it was kind of a euphoric time in my life, and it was a good year. And then thankfully I had surgery, and it was successful. I still have nerve damage. I still have pain sometimes. I've had flare-ups. Some days are good days. Some days are bad days. Sometimes it depends on the weather. Sometimes it depends on arthritis. Nerve damage down my leg into my toe and other places. But all in all, I'm very thankful. You know, they were able to give me a partial discectomy, shave off part of the disc that was bulging and impeding my life. And I walked out of there the same day, vastly improved, able to stand up straight for the first time in practically years, but really, you know, since the major flare-up that caused the surgery, that led to it, because I had this injury for 6 years. For the first time in years, I felt normal. To the point that it gave me oxy. The pain was so bad, and what they anticipated, the doctors, the pain post-surgery to be, was that they gave me oxy. I want to say heroin, but it's not heroin. It's oh my dear God, I am blanking. This is the problem with doing a show so late in the evening. Morphine, oxy, morphine, blood thinner so I wouldn't get a clot, and stool softener. Thankfully, no clots. Thankfully, my poops are fine. But the pain was so much less that I took a month's supply and I made it last 3 months, because I really only had to take it at night. That's when it would get kind of like fucked up, my back and whatnot. But I don't know how I got on this. The less sleep I get, and it affects my day in negative ways. I know that feeling. I don't sleep well. Constantly obsessing on mistakes of the past and the future and my insecurities. Yeah, I mean, it's the truth. And so I guess I don't know how I got on this. I guess talking about medication for anxiety. I think it's probably best not to take it, because while most antidepressants are not going to be anywhere on the level of oxycodone. You know, I rejected for a long time, for months, to take any kind of pain meds. My mother had hepatitis C and liver disease and a whole bunch of problems, and she had Tylenol 4, which at the time was one of the strongest pain prescriptions they could give you. It was in the 90s, and it made her into a complete addict. And she would go through withdrawal when she didn't have it, and it wasn't pretty, and I was always scared of that. And I think, had my surgery waited another month, 2 months maybe, because again, while I had oxy after post-surgery, I had it very sporadically. Had I had to take it 3-4 times a day for another month or two, I would have been a complete and total addict. There were times, even for a year or two afterwards, where my body would say, you know, it'd be really nice right now, Shane, some of that oxy. And, you know, there were moments where I thought, how can I get some? And then I shot that down, you know. And I know my best friend and many others, they were scared for me. They were like, you gotta be fucking careful. And it's something that I know antidepressants aren't necessarily that. It's still, I don't know, it's scary for me. It's growing up with a mother who was ill, who had antidepressants and pain suppressants and you name it. So I try to deal with that, but I guess, I don't know, everyone's saying just take melatonin and I'll be able to sleep. And then this podcast will be completely irrelevant, which it pretty much is, because I don't think anyone's watching. It says there are 2 people watching, but I have a feeling that it's like not real. So, you know, who knows? Clearly my sister is not able to join us today. Damn you, Panther, damn you. I love you, though. But she promises, she said if she can't make it, she'll promise she'll make it next time. I was supposed to have a podcast on Monday, and then my friend canceled on me the last minute then, too, so. But I don't know, I guess I've been kind of, I guess I didn't know what to talk about. Now, of course, I'm just rambling about my life, which is completely uninteresting to anybody, including myself, but But maybe it is. Maybe it's a story that can help somebody else out there if they just stumble across this. You know, it is. If you're in pain and you're on meds and it's fucking with your head, take a step back. I hurt particularly one person who I love dearly, who is not in my life anymore, who never will be again, who I can't even say I'm sorry to. And I should never, and while it isn't all just medication, not by any means. There are choices that you make, there are choices that I made that hurt her and other people in the world. You know, and not just in this situation, but throughout your whole life, you hurt people. You don't mean to. Everyone does it. You process it. You move on. Hopefully, you can heal with them. Everyone heals over time. It's funny about having this mic and these headphones. Is like I can hear my fan, I can hear different things, but then there's a weird sound sometimes from outside. I don't know what the fuck it is, and that sounded like I don't know. That was weird. It sounded like a sci-fi movie. Anyway, it was part of it, and it played a part, and I battle with myself between hating myself for hurting someone and putting all the responsibility on me, and then understanding also that I was functioning as an addict basically at the time. And I don't know where the disconnect is. I don't know how to reconcile this. I don't think I ever will. But I hurt someone who I still love dearly and who I miss every day, and she didn't deserve it. And I feel horrible, and I'm sorry. And, you know, I should never have even introduced the possibility of being able to hurt someone. But that's really where the bad decision was. And that's really where the going with what felt good because of the medication played a part. It's not so much in the decision and how things ended. It was about even introducing that topic into my life. And that was irresponsible. So I steer away from medication a great deal because, I don't know, I'm just afraid of what it does to you. The long-term effects you don't even know about. The way it can impact you in the moment. It's a scary thing, and I try to keep myself pretty far away from that nowadays, you know. But it's what it is. Is this even going? Yeah, it's still going. I don't know why it says I have an hour and 3 minutes. It's 31 minutes and 42 seconds of an hour and 3:24. YouTube is weird, man. They constantly change shit up, and you can't do anything about it. You can't contact anyone. You can't fix anything. It'll create duplicate streams and tell you that it's not working. But let me tell you something. Let me talk about YouTube for a second. Really not YouTube. Let me talk about the fact that I have been making independent film and indie projects and podcasts. I mean, podcasts are fairly, just over a year kind of recent thing. Web series back since 2012 and indie film since 2006. Back when I was working with Liv, to go back to that, just I listened to music, and I made a mistake the other night of listening to songs that reminded me of when that time ended and when we were canceled, and it's just weird that this 10-year period of my 40-year life that I don't think about it. I don't think about it because I achieved. There are moments I can objectively say that I achieved something, that I've gotten to a good place, but compared to pretty much everyone who I worked with there, everyone really, I'm very, very close to the same situation in life I was when I started working there at the age of 21. That's rough. 21 to 31 I was there, and of ages, and I have nothing to show for it. I barely got a promotion at any point. Pay raises were next to nothing there. I was treated like crap by most people. Well, my friends who I came in there with, some before, some during, some after, all were promoted and moved on, no matter how hard I worked. And others left, and interns of mine winning awards and really building the life that they deserve. It's not like no one deserves it. Everyone does. And then you think like, fuck, I'm here in my job that I'm very thankful to have, but isn't in the field I want to be in. And I'm here talking, in essence, to myself at night every few days. I have some amazing friends who I love to feature their stuff, and they're interesting as fuck. But no one's watching it. You know, and it gets you down because all these other people, you watch them so successful and have, I'm stuck at home, and we can't expense our expenses to the job. I'm just blessed to have a job, but I can't complain because I will figure out how to pay my electricity bill. But there are moments that you start worrying like, oh shit, I'm home 24/7 in a heat wave. My electricity bill is going to be like $400 this month, and you're like, oh shit, I don't make that. I pay half my monthly income to my rent, but then you realize you're just lucky to have income. But then I think about the people I've worked with and the people I've been around, the people I used to call friends and family. Well, I don't really talk to anymore because I'm the guy in the room at these reunions, and we have these show reunions, that I don't know what to say to anybody. I really don't. I have nothing common. I don't have a wife. I don't have children. I don't have a house and a mortgage or a car. I have a lot. I'm blessed for it. I'm not complaining. I'm not saying I'm bad off. But I don't really have a career. I'm like, where the fuck did what happened? What happened? What happened? Let me make sure people can hear my audio. Yeah, I do. The other day we had an issue, and I was like, oh, God, am I talking to myself? I'm just going to delete this. It's therapy anyway. I'm here at 40, and I'm nowhere near as far along as I thought I'd be, or as far along as people who I worked with 20 years ago were at 25. It makes me feel like shit sometimes. There were so many great people at that show and so many horrible people. And it started out as a very charmed time in my life, and it just became the most monotonous, bad thing. People are like, what are you up to? I'm like, I'm doing this. People have something concrete to talk about. Oh, I went here, and oh, my kid that, and oh, my partner this, and oh, my job that, and oh, we saved up for this, and I just feel less than. And yet I know I'm not. I know that I'm pretty fucking awesome with a great many things, and I know that I have a good head on my shoulders. I know that I've worked hard, and you don't necessarily have to show anything for it. You know you did it, and you know you did the right thing. But of course, it's I know all these things, and I feel all these things, and I believe all these things. But then sometimes, and this is what the show's about. It isn't about not knowing that you're worth something. It is about being okay and knowing you're not alone when late at night, all those feelings of being less than, or regret, or fear for where you're headed get you, take hold of you. And it's okay. You know it's okay. I know it's okay. And we know we're great, and we know we're awesome, we know we're mighty, and we know that materialistic things and checking off where you're at in life as far as family and spouse and children and mortgage and cars go, and how many trips you take and how much shiny shit you have. I came from nothing. I came from the projects in the Bronx on food stamps and welfare. I can afford starships. Like, I can be a nerd. I have a computer that I can do this show from. I have come a long way from where I started. I should never have gotten here. All the odds were against me. And I did it. But sometimes it just gets to you, and it's okay. And you're not alone. And for some people, medication is the answer. I'm not advocating saying that you shouldn't take medication if you're feeling depressed or anxious or can't sleep. It's just not for me right now. Except melatonin. I know I gotta take melatonin. I only take fucking melatonin. Okay, I'll order it. But, you know, I'm just going in circles, aren't I? So back to what I was talking about. I've been making indie projects for decades, and nothing's ever really taken off. Nothing's gone viral, and that sucks. And again, I had that same anxiety as I did with One Life as I do with that, because so many people I worked with and they moved on and they've forgotten my name and forgotten I exist, and that's fine. That's life. That's what happens. You know, it's just the circle of poo, and that's fine. But the other day, 2 days ago, finally something I posted actually has gone real viral. Actual real viral. It's not even my friggin' video. Now stop me if you have seen this video shared in your time feed. Nope. Get out of here. Get out of here. There we go. What the hell? I'm gonna start over. Stop me if you've seen this video. What are you doing? Replay. What is happening? Have you seen this? All right, I gotta go back to the other screen because I don't know why shit ain't working. Anyway, have you seen that video of that squirrel eating that damn pizza on a Brooklyn stoop? It says Brooklyn Stoop 2020. I posted that shit. I did it. Right now it has like about 1,400 shares. It has hundreds of comments. We've had organizations reach out to try to get the rights to it. It's my friend Melissa. She sent it to me the other day. She was just walking down the street and saw that. I was like, what the fuck? That's better than Pizza Rat, because no one wants to look at a rat eating a pizza in the subway. I mean, we all did. But this is Pizza Squirrel. And this has gone viral. And I'm like, why couldn't it be anything that I really wanted people to see? But, you know, this is fucking cool. So if you see that video, I'm just saying, think of me. Think of the Keeping Me Up podcast, because yours truly posted that shit, not my video. Again, shout out to Melissa, because it's her video that I posted. But she posted too, it didn't go viral. But anyway, from her, it went viral for me. But that's really cool. And I know 1,500 isn't a lot in 2 days for like truly viral, but it's really kind of cool to have that feeling of like share, getting all these notifications. I'm like, it's not because people love me, it's because they love that squirrel. But if you see it, that's me. There's really no other reason for bringing up that damn squirrel, but that's the reason why. I mean, it's clear that my sister is not joining us, and it's clear that I guess I got nothing else really to talk about. I guess I do, but this was therapeutic. I haven't done one of these in a quite a little bit. Well, I guess what was the last one we did? I don't know. I think it was with my friend Nicole. Maybe last Thursday, I think it was. So it's been a while. I've been meaning to do it. It's been almost a week. It's been about a week. But I thank you for watching. I will say, what was I going to say? It's weird when you have to riff. You know, when you have no one to riff off with. I mean, we're talking now for 43 minutes, and it's quite enjoyable. It's kind of therapeutic in a way, I would love you to join the conversation. If you want to join the show, introduce a topic, talk about anything, tell me how stupid I am, tell me how great I am. Tell me how much you love the pizza squirrel, and just join in. In the comments, you feel free to log on. I can give you the instructions to be able to log on and chat with me, and get your thoughts out there. Damn, I was gonna say something. I can't remember what it was, but definitely I'll have my sister Panther on in the near future, and we will talk about everything. 40 minutes we've been talking. We will talk about North versus South, and how everything in the world is affecting us and impacting us, and the difference in locations, geographies, and really the greater idea about that is to really kind of try to get into the mind frame and the head of someone who lives down there, who's around folks who have just this fundamental difference in philosophy and way of life and opinion, and try to truly understand what's in their heads. Because so often friends say to me, I don't understand how these people think like this. And while these people, sounds like a knock at the chair. While my sister isn't one of these people, so to speak, she's around them and she knows them, and she can probably shed a lot more light on this than where I myself or you would just speculate. And that would really be cool. And we're gonna have that. We're gonna have her and another guest in the future, and then me just riffing and whatnot. Again, you're enough. Whatever's keeping you up at night, whatever's keeping you scared, whatever's making you scared, whatever is putting fear into your mind, whatever makes you feel like shit, it's serious, it's real, you have to address it. Don't think you're less than. Don't think that your problems, just because someone else has it worse out there, aren't valid, aren't real. They are. We could compare ourselves to others all day long. It would get us absolutely nowhere. Trust me, I know. And sometimes by comparing ourselves, we're getting nowhere, and we're creating this loop of just anxiety and fear, and it fucks up everything. And I've done that, and I will continue to do it. So we're always a work in progress, but we're always working, hopefully, to make progress. And that's really all you can ask for from yourself, to allow yourself that time, that validation. I know this is becoming some sappy shit and self-help sounding thing, but it's stuff I do have to remind myself of when I'm up late at night in my bed. And I'm like, damn, I should start a podcast now. Now is when all the thoughts are flowing through my head. That was where I couldn't just riff off and find something to talk about. But apparently I did. The emptiness and the loneliness and the coldness of this world and this universe seeps in. You need to hear this, and maybe someone will. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but Sunday. And it's also something I need to hear to tell myself. And I'm just thankful. Again, my heart goes out to everyone in Beirut and in Lebanon and everywhere with all injustice and all tragedies. Please wear your masks. Please take what's going on in the world seriously. Please use your voice to talk about what's not right with this world and this society. And please find the beauty and the joy in everything that you can. Life is a balance. And maybe while everything is keeping you up, knowing that life is a balancing act, and sometimes you're going to tip the scales to one side or another. As long as you can try to toe that line, that tightrope of life, and find balance, then you're doing okay. Thank you to my guest of me. Thank you to the guest of the pizza squirrel. And of course, thanks to Melissa for sharing that video with me and it going viral. Keep sharing it. Again, please like, share, subscribe. We'll be back hopefully in the next few days with some more nerd arguments and the North versus South argument, and a lot more. You all are awesome for watching, and be good to each other. Go to sleep. See, I need to do better at timing that. I gotta hit end stream and say be good to each other, and go to sleep, and then click it. Like Steven from Not Leaving Las Vegas vlog. He goes 3, 2, 1, click. He's probably just I get it. Okay, take care of yourselves. No, I'm not Jerry Springer. Be good to each other and go to sleep.